Hello everyone, welcome back. I hope your day is starting off just great. Let me introduce the video here with this picture behind me. This is Westbrook Pond in Newfoundland, Grossmoor National Park. And yes, if you're watching from somewhere other than Canada, this is a pond in Canada. Posted by Jeff in the I Choose Canada group site. Just an amazing pic. And I visited this spot. It's absolutely fantastic. It's a fjord, sort of, but in Newfoundland they call it a pond. I have some great news for you. The announcements just keep coming. Mark Carney has announced 7 additional projects to be added to the nation building projects list. And I'll tell you right away before we get into the details here that an oil pipeline is not on Ottawa's nation building projects list this time. Alberta confirms this. The province says sensitive negotiations continue towards getting one on Carney's fast-track list soon. Danielle Smith has decided to take a much different approach in how she pursues her relationship with the federal government and Mark Carney. And as you can see from the picture here, the two of them look very happy. I think this was taken during the Calgary Stampede this summer. It almost looks like they're having a very good time together. But I do have to point out my personal opinion. I think really the only people that look good in cowboy hats are real cowboys and real cowgirls. Middle-aged politicians, well, let's just say they look really happy. Okay, so there wasn't an oil pipeline on the list, but one of the biggest projects that was announced this time is a new LNG development, which includes a major new gas pipeline and power infrastructure and LNG facility. Now the reason I'm mentioning this is because oil, gas, we used to call it the oil and gas industry. I think some politicians now are choosing to just call it the oil industry when there's no oil pipeline. There's a gas pipeline, okay? And what's important to understand is LNG, the LNG stations will be placed on the West Coast on Tidewater. The gathering system, the pipelines necessary will travel through BC. But those pipelines will connect with existing infrastructure in northeast BC. And let me give you the history here. Before we had any LNG facilities, there's always been a lot of natural gas production from northeastern BC. And that natural gas production was flowed through pipelines connecting through Alberta and down to the United States. So the gathering system, they call it, the infrastructure that moves gas around, used to flow from northeast BC through Alberta and into the United States. But now with these LNG projects going forward, what's going on is we're building new pipelines that connect to that gathering system. So now not all the gas will travel down to the United States. Some gas will be rerouted through BC and we'll be able to sell that to Asian markets. So the infrastructure is shared. A lot of it already exists in Alberta and Northeast BC, tying in most of the natural gas production. And now we're connecting it to the coast. So this particular project is going to be very beneficial for Alberta as well as BC. Let me play you a clip of Mark Carney talking specifically about this project, and then I'll give you a summary using a map provided by the government of all the new projects that have been identified.
We're home to the world's 4th largest reserves of natural gas, and we have the potential to supply up to 100 million tons annually of new LNG exports to Asia. But that will require major investment across a wide range of infrastructure. And to encourage that investment, the budget provides new tax incentives to encourage the world's lowest carbon, I'll repeat, the world's lowest carbon LNG facilities. And the budget also expands the Canadian Infrastructure Bank's ability to support projects like Silism's LNG. Silism comprises a new gas pipeline, a new electricity transmission line, and a new floating LNG export facility. Led by the Nisga'a Nation under President Ava Clayton, Silisms will become Canada's second largest LNG facility with a capacity to export 12 million tons of LNG every year to new markets. It'll also be one of the world's cleanest LNG operations, with emissions an incredible 94% below the global average, and with the potential to reach net zero by the end of this decade. All while creating thousands of skilled careers and $4 billion contributions annually to our GDP.
Okay, so you heard Mark Carney talking about the LNG project, and that is a fairly massive project. But to summarize here, 7 major projects were identified, including new mines and also a hydro development. Here's a list of the new projects that made the list. The Sisson Mine for critical minerals in New Brunswick, the Crawford Nickel Project in Ontario, the Sea Lisms Liquefied Natural Gas Project, which you just heard Mark Carney talking about, the Iqaluit Hydro Project, that's an interesting one, I'll show you it on the map, the Nouveau Monde Graphite Phase 2 project in Quebec, and the North Coastal Transmission Line in Northwest BC. Now, I'm on the Government of Canada website where they have a page here that shows you the locations on a map of all the nation building projects. And they've updated it with the new ones here. And you can interact with this map. For instance, look at this one here that I called interesting. On Baffin Island, this project here, the Iqaluit Nuqiqsautit, I don't know if I said that right, I tried my best, hydro project. And you can interact with this map and click here and get a full project description. The Iqaluit, and let me try pronouncing this again, Nuqiqsautit hydro project, a 15 to 30 megawatt conventional hydroelectric facility located on the Kugaluk River, 60 kilometers north of Iqaluit, Nunavut. This project is led by the Nunavut Nuqiqsautit Corporation, Nunavut's first 100% Inuit-owned renewable energy developer. The Iqaluit Nuqiqsautit hydro project would displace the city of Iqaluit's current use of diesel-generated electricity with affordable, reliable, and emissions-free power. Iqaluit currently relies on imported diesel fuel for electricity generation, equivalent to 15 million liters annually, producing an estimated 130 tons of greenhouse gas emissions annually. And it'll be replaced by a hydroelectric project. This project is just a really good idea. Let's have a look at the project that's been announced for the Maritime provinces in New Brunswick. This would be the North Cliff Resource Sisson Mine. And the description for this project: tungsten has both civilian and defense applications, such as cutting tools, steel, military munitions, and protective equipment. Global tungsten markets are highly concentrated, and this project has the potential to make Canada a secure supplier for domestic and allied industries. In Ontario, this project here, Canada's Nickel Crawford project near Timmins, Ontario. This project will serve as an anchor of Canada's global leadership in clean industrial materials. Located in the world's second largest nickel reserve, the Crawford project will produce high-quality, low-carbon nickel, essential for batteries and green steel. Let's have a look at this new project in Quebec, and that would be the Nouveau Monde, the New World, Graphite's Medawani Mine. And this is an open-pit graphite mine that will be integrated with a planned battery material plant to produce spherical graphite for batteries and other advanced manufacturing applications. Now, I'll provide a link of this map in the video description so you can peruse and look at these things at your leisure. After reading their general description, you can Google the project and get more information on it. I just wanted to give you a flavor for where these projects were and what type of projects they were. Other than the West Coast LNG project and the hydroelectric electricity project in Iqaluit, it seems that we're focusing heavily on developing critical minerals mining, and critical minerals refining and infrastructure. And that, I believe, is a very good idea because right now China is the world's top critical minerals refiner. Right now, China holds a dominant position in refining critical minerals, accounting for roughly 2/3 of global production capacity. It is the leader in processing lithium, 65%, cobalt, 74%, natural graphite, 100%. And if you recall, one of the new major projects that was announced was a graphite project. And rare earths, 90%. Rare earths being one of the engines of the new economy. So as the world stands today, China has a stranglehold on rare earths and the whole rare earths mineral mining industry and refining industry. And so I think this move by Canada to ramp up its production and refining of rare earth minerals is very strategic and very smart. Now, China has enjoyed a dominant position for a long time. They've never really weaponized their position or withheld these products from the rest of the world until recently, because of the trade war that the United States started and escalated with China in particular. And it got to a point a couple of weeks ago where China threatened that it may actually start withholding or limiting the amount of critical minerals, essential rare earths, that it would export to the United States. A move that if they did do that, if they cut off rare earths exports, processed rare earth exports to the United States, it would virtually shut down the new modern economy in the United States. And I mentioned this in a previous video. I'm not talking about the US economy collapsing and you won't be able to go get a coffee or go to the drugstore or go fill up your car with gas. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the new economy. All the new high-tech industries rely completely on these rare earth minerals. So China having a full 100% control of some of them makes the rest of the world vulnerable for one thing, but it also is a huge opportunity for a competitor to step in. And so here we have the situation where the largest importer, the largest consumer of these rare earths is the United States. They have the biggest economy. And the biggest supplier now is China. The United States is being hostile towards China. So let me think, is there another country in the world that maybe is the same size as China, maybe has rich, abundant rare earth minerals that it could mine like China? Maybe a country that doesn't have 1 billion people that need the minerals themselves? Maybe a country that has that potential. What country do you think could step in and become an alternative supplier to the United States? And maybe Europe as well. Well, that would be us. So this is a fantastic idea, and we couldn't accelerate this fast enough. So I hope more projects that are announced are related to rare earth minerals. It really is the future. Almost everything you use now, without even knowing it, relies on these things. The computer that you're watching, your cell phone, a lot of the electronics that make your car work or your appliances work, they're everywhere without you even seeing them. And mining them is one thing, but refining them is another thing. The refining of rare earth minerals is an energy-intensive process. And it just so happens that Canada has one of the cleanest and most reliable electricity grids in the world. 80% of our electricity is generated clean, the majority of that being hydroelectric, especially in British Columbia and Ontario and Quebec. It's only Alberta and Saskatchewan that burn natural gas to generate electricity. The rest of the country is fairly hydro-intensive, and that gives us a tremendous advantage in the same way that it gives Quebec an advantage in the production of aluminum. The production of aluminum is very energy intense, and that's why Quebec has such an advantage, because they have abundant, cheap hydroelectric electricity, and that's why Quebec is one of the top producers in the world of aluminum, because they can do it very economically. We can also process rare earth minerals in Canada very economically if we strategically locate the processing facilities where we have abundant, cheap, clean power. So this is a fantastic plan. It's shaping out and being developed right before our eyes. We're slowly making progress, and I know that there will be some people that will say, but I haven't seen a critical minerals facility open up yet. Well, actually, there has been one that's open. There's a major one that's open in Saskatchewan, which is one of the largest and cleanest critical minerals facilities in the world right now. New. So you have to understand that the scope of these things is huge. They're going to take some time, but organizing them, identifying them, and then putting them on a fast track for approval, one streamlined approval and consultation process through one office, rather than many different approval and consultation processes happening at different times in different places. If we can build momentum here and actually get these things built, it will be very, very good news for our country. So I thought I'd give you a little bit of an update here, a little bit of information. I'll leave the link for that map that you can interact with, and I'll also leave the link of Mark Carney's full speech. I played you a little snippet, but I think he talked for almost an hour about all the projects. If you want to listen to it, I'll leave those links in the video description. Subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. If you'd like to support my work on a monthly basis, consider becoming a channel member by clicking the Join button. If you have some beautiful pics like the one behind me here that you'd like to share and get featured on videos, post them on the I Choose Canada group site, and I'll leave a link for that as well in the video description. Have a fantastic rest of your day, everyone, and I'll catch you all on the next one.